Are you a foreign national that has a bachelor's degree, perhaps even a master's degree? Or are you a foreign national who has a blue-collar skill set? Plumbing, truck driving, electrician? Doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is, in both instances, there are pathways to bring you here legally to the United States and ultimately get a green card. My name is Luis Hess. I'm the founder and owner of Hess Law Firm. We are a law firm that focuses on immigration law. We have offices both here in the Woodlands, Houston, but we work with clients internationally, both in the United States and outside the United States. Now, with regards to either category I talked about, people with a bachelor's degree go through the EB2 route. People who do not have a bachelor's degree but have still a skill set go through the EB3 route. Now, the pathway, which is typically called a labor certification that's sponsored through an employer, has essentially 5 parts to it. Now, the first part can be understood as a labor certification, or better known as a prevailing wage. The idea is that your employer files an application with the Department of Labor saying that they're looking for somebody with a specific skill set, certifications, years of experience, education, things of that nature. And after several months, the Department of Labor will come back and say, okay, this profile that you're looking for, well, you need to pay this person X amount of money. Now that becomes more important later on in this video. But at least at this junction, we know how much you as a foreign national need to be paid, whether as a person with a bachelor's degree in computer engineering or somebody who's a cook, same process. The second thing that we need to do through this process is do what's called the recruitment, advertising and recruitment specifically. Now the idea is that your employer would then go out and put out an advertisement with the State Workforce Commission, wherever that happens to be, put up a newspaper ad and a local major newspaper for at least 2 Sundays, and also to do a notification in a public place within your workspace. That is typically a break room. Now, that's as far as that has to be done when it comes to EB3. If we're talking about an EB2, then additional things have to be done. That is publication in some type of trade journal, it's some type of publication, let's say LinkedIn or Monster.com, publication, perhaps a local college fair. Depends on your skill set, depends on which category. More or less, it's the same thing. So the idea is that we publish this advertisement for at least 30 to 60 days, have a 30-day cool-off period, and no one applies, then we move on to step 3. Now, when it comes to step 2, one thing that we're always focusing on is meeting the guidelines required for the certification. That is, you only have to put so much information, and there are ways in which you can demonstrate that you're only looking for people being able to apply in a very specific manner so that you're not being flooded by unqualified applicants. The fact of the matter is, just because somebody applies for a position doesn't necessarily mean to get an interview. For instance, if the application says that they're looking for somebody with 10 different types of criteria, from education, certification, whatever it happens to be, that person, any person that wants to be interviewed has to meet all 10 criteria. Otherwise, there's no obligation to pardon the employer. Now, given the fact that we've successfully gone through this advertising and recruitment stage, we then move on to stage 3. And that's essentially where the employer has to file one final application with the Department of Labor saying that they have found no one here in America to fit this specific profile, but they know you as a foreign national and want to sponsor you for a green card. So we file that and we wait. This entire process, parts 1, 2, and 3, will typically take about 1.5 years, at least at the current stage. Now, once we successfully complete that process, we move on to stage 4. At stage 4, essentially what we're looking to prove is that the employer has the ability to pay the prevailing wage, the amount that we talked about in the very first part of this video. So long as the employer has the ability to pay that wage, then we can successfully finish this part of the application. And it's in part 5 that we actually get to the physical green card. The green card can be applied for here in the United States, typically referred to as an adjustment of status, or it can be done abroad at a U.S. embassy or consulate. Depending on which country you're coming from, sometimes it can be faster to do it in the United States, sometimes it can be faster to do it outside the United States. All depends on specifics. But the idea is that from start to finish, we can help you get your green card in about 3 or so years. It's a process. At the end of the process, you have something that's permanent. If this is something you would like to know more, have more information about, then please give us a call. Here on our website, you can find additional information. But the bottom line is that if you give us a call, we'd be happy to set up an appointment with you, discuss your background, your history, what your goals are, see if you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you. They need to be part of the conversation. And putting those two things together, we can find a pathway for you to get your green card.